instead I decided to take my own advice. Take some self-care today. Sixes came up, probably like I think about 6 of them, and I haven't really been on. Dior did just open up a store in Tokyo at Ginza, I don't know how to pronounce it, but 6, and showcasing their couture collection, and 8 new dresses, which are kind of like my, my imagination land fantasy world. It's pretty much what I would wear. Really beautiful. So if you haven't checked out that, I'll put the link below and you can. But since I'm feeling a little bit better today, and the Empress does represent fashion industry to me. So on that note, I also looked into some other brands that I like and saw how Chanel's new campaign with Pharrell was out today. Or was it yesterday? With Pharrell in it. It actually reminded me, because he's wearing a lot of necklaces in the campaign video, it reminded me of, a Chanel necklace I had. It wasn't actually a necklace, it was, this has a point actually, for those interested in vintage shopping and, collecting archival pieces and things like that, you should definitely check out stores in Texas. I'll go into that in a second, but yeah, I had this, it was actually a vintage Chanel belt that I came across at this vintage store. I don't remember the name of the store, but if you are in Texas and you are traveling between Dallas and Waco on Highway 35, there's this old shack of a place where you can find the most awesome, real authentic vintage boots, t-shirts, everything you could possibly want. And I found this Chanel belt with it was gold with some white leather intertwined and some trinkets, doodads. What's the word I'm looking for? Just Chanel emblems hanging off of it, and I'm pretty sure it was made for a 10-inch waist, so it didn't fit my waist, but I wore it as a necklace for years. I think I left it in New York though. Wish I had it. I'd be wearing it right now. But yeah, Texas is awesome for vintage hunting, because it's not as picked over as a lot of, if you in New York or LA, or vintage pieces cost $1 trillion. You can find so many awesome pieces in Texas because it's a lot of old money and people just kind of get rid of things and no one really knows. I mean, I feel like Dallas and Austin, but it's more sorority taste, sorority girl taste. So, and not everyone knows what the, to look for. So you can find a lot of really cool pieces. And besides that Chanel belt or necklace, I found this. It was probably the best thing I've ever found. It was a vintage Oscar de la Renta dress from Saks Fifth Avenue in the 50s. And oh my gosh, it would be so, I mean, it's classic anyways, but it'd be so on trend now. It has this it was gingham, a navy blue and almost dove gray white gingham. It's really small print in taffeta, and but it had navy blue lace overlay on the top, the short sleeves down to here, and some sort of sweetheart neckline, and the lace went down to that high hip, and then the rest you could see the gingham fully, and it was a short poofed out from here. It's just one of those dresses that you want to put it on and spin in it. It just was so flattering. And I remember wearing it to, this is kind of a funny story actually, so this is where I'll start and then we'll get into the reading. But I wore it to a wedding in Dallas one time. This was back in college, and one woman actually came up to me and said that you're better dressed than the bride. Probably the best compliment. She was an older lady, really well dressed herself, so I'm oh thanks, that's probably the nicest thing I've ever heard. It was all the dress. I mean, I might have it here actually. I don't remember if I brought it with me in if I can find it, I'll do a little show and tell, because it's just so pretty, and it just looks so great on. But this was after the wedding, and just a big group of us were out and going to the parties after the ceremony, and I was with my boyfriend at the time and all of his like fraternity brothers who were just completely wasted, and we were walking from one place to another, and group mentality, frat boy mentalities, came across these other two guys who were like giving them shit. And I'm ahead walking with another like of the girlfriends of the group, we're talking. I look back and I see like my boyfriend in like a headlock, and his friends are like throwing punches in the air, just it's just a mass disaster. And I can tell that like this is just not going to end well. So we walk back, and I come to find out that the two guys that started this fight were like two undercover police officers. So I'm like, this is really not good. I don't need my boyfriend to be getting arrested. So we're trying to break up these fights, and it's really not doing any good because, just everyone's just wanting to fight. And this one guy, the head guy of these like two police officers, was like headbutting with my boyfriend at the time, and he fell down. And I'm really protective of the people that I love and the things that the people in my life and the things that I care about. And so when push comes to shove, no pun intended, I have to step in, and I kind of get into that fight mode. So this guy pushes my boyfriend falls down, and I'm like, how dare he? So I get in the middle of it, and I push this guy back, and I think he was so surprised that this curly hair, like in this vintage Oscar rented dress and heels, had just pushed him. And I said, if you're gonna punch my boyfriend, you're gonna have to punch me first. And he just kind of was like, okay, all right. I mean, my boyfriend was not happy. He's like, I can take care of myself. I'm like, clearly, obviously. But anyways, it's like, I felt like that dress gave you some extra superpower strength. It was a great dress, and I'll try to find it if I have it here. But anyways, that's my little opening story. Anyways, this is back to our daily mirror, our messages, energies for tomorrow. I thought I'd start with, the planets, the planetary energy, the who. So for general energies, the highest and greatest good of all people. People need to know what energies are important for tomorrow, the 25th. The North Node. Mars is on the bottom. So, and that was yesterday's energy. The North Node. It's kind of like your true, I don't know, it's hard to, I'm not as familiar with the characteristics of the North Node, to be totally honest, but I'll put links below. It's kind of like your true destiny, what you're supposed to get to. You're supposed to move away from your South Node, where you're very comfortable with that energy, you're very comfortable being in that place. So, and my North Node is in Taurus, so I'm very comfortable being in that, like, Scorpio, like, dark depths, like, going deep, diving deep, but I'm supposed to move towards that Taurus, which is where my moon is too. So, we're all getting there, working towards things. So, okay, the signs, how is the North Node affecting people tomorrow, that kind of energy, and what sign? In Gemini, Libra also kind of wanted to come out. Taurus is on the bottom. Oh my gosh, it's too funny. All right. And Gemini, again, is about an air sign. So it's about communication, speech. And, I think also I watched what I put in the video yesterday, superpowers of each sign, which is fun if you go back and listen to it. Kind of lined up with the reading a little bit, just the signs and that came out. And really it's about like compartmentalizing too, and just really being kind of a mutable air sign, just being able to talk and get your point across and be logical and all that. So let's see, in what house, what area of life? The fifth house. Ninth house on the bottom. Fifth house is love, romance, creativity, drama, theatrics. Really just, it's kind of about your home, your heart, how you express love, expression, being ruled by Leo. So it talks about the power of love, your creations, trusting with the trust of a child, making art, doing things dramatically. So that kind of works out. Let's see. So I'll just pull some from the Thoth deck. Let's see, as a foundational card, how these energies are working in your life tomorrow. Knight of Swords works out with Gemini, air sign, about communication. Again, this looks like a helicopter to me. Actually, looks like one of those new flying cars that just came out a couple days ago. Actually, right after this card came out the night before. So I also noticed like dragonfly looks like some sort of. He looks like he is just on a mission, and he's gonna get to his make his point. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Truce 4 on the bottom. Jupiter and Libra. Jupiter and Libra. Abundance of Jupiterian. I want to say Libran. I guess Libran energy. Fairness, balance. Another air card. And it's the Four of Swords. So again, it's about taking a rest, which I'm also thinking of doing, taking a little breather break from, I just sort of started these daily readings, but a lot going on, so I kind of need to maybe step back. But I did promise that I would do a reading that goes through all the houses, so I think I'm going to do that. That's going to finish up this month for people, and we'll see. We'll see how it works out. But this is also, kind of getting to the point. I also think of Atlantis when I see this card because of the 3 rings and just this sort of like, it's like broken glass to me, or some sort of abstract version of waves. But yeah, abundance is about expansion, expanding your words, expanding how, between Gemini and Libra, kind of goes from that to Libra and Gemini that compartmentalizes and has 2 separate ways of seeing things. It's the twins, to Libra that is about finding that balance and that middle ground between those 2 things, moving into Aquarius. It's funny, other people sort of get that luck from me, but I can't bring it into myself, or it just doesn't happen in the same way. So it was an experiment, but a lot of different fields I probably could have gone into. Further clarity on the Four of Swords, which by the way is about rest, taking a breather, I think I said, meditation, the Tower, the Five of Rods, which I think is like the 5th house, and 7 of Cups. I was think 5 and 7 between the 5th house and the 7th house. Dreaming. That could also be representative of the Four of Swords. Dreaming, thoughts, fantasy, trying to think about what it is, through all these different options. There's like a dragon here, there's jewelry, there's a laurel crown, a mask, castle, stars, a snake. This card represents a ton of different things, to me at least. Some people have very set definitions of things, but I kind of tend to think of, look, her hair is even turning into the clouds, I don't know what that means, but just notice that. Or maybe 7 or 5 is important to you. 5th house is like some sort of competitive competition game, trying to build something up or break something down. It can be just a lot of different things. Sometimes there's someone directing the rest of them. So it can mean directing energies, rods being fire, passion, ideas. I always equate them. 7 of Cups, I also think of like just sort of daydreaming, thinking about all your options. Cups being emotion, water, feeling, psychic, sort of intuitiveness. It more so represents to me now head in the clouds too. I like the stars and it's just kind of picking what is it that you want. Do you want a house? Do you want do you want attention with that laurel? Like, do you want think of like war with a little dragon here? Do you want some nice luxurious jewelry? Do you want stars, whatever that means to you? Or acting maybe with a mask? Sometimes I think of it as like like, when you put a DVD or something in, like you can pick the scenes. So I kind of think of it as scenes as well. Where do you want to start? And Tower, some sort of, since we have like dreaming going on and swords, so much like mental energy, and ideas, maybe clashing ideas, maybe even within yourself. Maybe you can't decide which one to pick, what to go with, which direction to go with. Heard a noise. And it's kind of like maybe all of a sudden some sort of striking epiphany of which one to go with. We're at 16, reducing down to 7 again. So 2 7s. Which would be, again, 14, reducing down to 5. So maybe 2 5s, 5 and 5. Which reminds me of Chanel as well. And that ends up being a 10, so that's reduces down to 1, that's you. So ideas, dreaming of the future, what to do, seeing all these options, seeing visions I think of as well. And then maybe having to come back down to earth. I tend to look for very grounded people to bring into my life. Or not look to, but like, you know what I mean? Like enjoy having more grounded people in my life because I'm already like, I so much air, water, like maybe it's the same for you. Like fire, just too much of it sometimes. And I can get so carried away, and yeah, it's definitely helpful when you have someone who's like, are you sure that's a good idea? And I'm rational, so like I can, usually it's just a reminder and you're like, oh yeah, maybe I should look into that more or something, but yeah, groundedness, having people in your life to bring you back down to earth. Hopefully nothing like really, hopefully this is more metaphoric and not some sort of tower crash or something, but to be aware of that. Even the waves are crashing, like it's just like a lot of, these people seem to be clashing too in this card. Sometimes I think of like a football field or some sort of intervention to, I don't know, like the lightning, two people falling, just it's like clearing away of maybe having too many options, not knowing what to pick, getting rid of the clutter, getting rid of what's unnecessary. or something coming in that does that for you, whether you like it or not, invite it or not. But, it's always looking in the silver lining, always finding ways to make the most of that. Resourcefulness, I think of too, sometimes with this card. And maybe envisioning how it is that you want to then rebuild or move forward. Yeah, so maybe coming to a new understanding as well of things. I don't know. Let's see, what else? This is the art of life. King of Wands on the bottom. Five of Wands also representing some kind of change, and again with like the Tower, some sort of sudden, perhaps, like I said, epiphany, shock, but some kind of change, something that shakes things up a bit, maybe throwing a monkey wrench in a situation to change things up a bit and move things forward, that reminds me, I was going to do a Celtic cross spread instead tonight. I kind of forgot about that. Eight of Swords. You can never cross the ocean unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Christopher Columbus. I love this picture. I think it's really pretty. Columbus Crossing the Atlantic by N.C. Wyeth, 1927. Private collection. So, I totally forgot I was going to do Celtic cross spread as something different. Maybe I'll do another reading after this and just kind of like sum it up in that way. I don't know. Kind of sum this up quickly and see what else there is. Maybe I'll do a love reading with a Celtic cross spread. That'll be fun. But for general energies tomorrow, strength. He knows not his own strength that hath not met adversity. Francis Bacon. And this is portrait of Queen Elizabeth. Ramada portrait after George Gower, 16th century. Think of opulence, extravagance, just from her clothing and just ornate details and little details. I'm looking at all the details. Really maybe taking an interest in that, or appreciating little, like couture I think of as well, appreciating all the details of something, seeing how the smallest thing adds to it, taking time in something, having strength of mind, strength of character, strength of heart. I mean, this often represents Sagittarius and Leo, or just Leo, but traditional imagery shows a woman and a lion. So sometimes I think of it as taking self-care, self-love, or mindset, changing your mindset, just taking care of something, taking care of yourself, connecting higher mind and your heart, making those things work together, logic and intuition. But if we're going on this imagery, I mean, yeah, she kind of does look like a lion with her big collar, lace collar. Looks like maybe it's metal. That'd be cool, like metal that looks like lace, intricate, in some way, shape, or form. Working that into something, maybe that like very like mesh metal, woven to look like lace. That'd be cool. Maybe even just this trim or something, but this also reminds me of, I don't have one out here, but these big, like almost like plates that you can get in Turkey, and my whole family has them. They're like inscribed with our names and birth dates and stuff like that. Just silver plates, trays, almost like this big, with all this like sort of intricate detailing, and it's all kind of like coming out from the center, from her mind, from her throat chakra. So maybe speech again with your thoughts and the swords, and just really getting your words out there and saying what it is that you want to say. So just an expansion of that, letting things flow from you, from the center of you, like where your heart, She has some jewelry on as well, some necklaces, some long pearls. That just reminded me of another story of this jewelry designer that I won't name because I know a lot of people know who he is, but or she is. But a jewelry designer that I one time met at Boom Boom Room in New York, and with some friends, I met him actually. What was that place on, like, for those that know New York? It was in a little Chinatown, like on Elizabeth Street, downstairs, kind of like a cave, and like upstairs. God, I'm completely blanking on the name right now. But it was like really like the coolest club to go to, like back in 2000, like 11, 12 maybe. And I met them there with friends, and actually ended up having like a really, really fun night with them, with another person. We ended up just like party hopping afterwards, and like ended up having breakfast at like Waverly Inn, Waverly Diner. Anyways, really nice. It was just like a fun night. I didn't see them again until, okay, I'll just say that it's a him because I'm gonna keep saying him. Until Boom Boom Room, when I ran into him again. Same girl though too was with him. I don't know, it was weird. And this was like a year later when I was finishing up at FIT, and at that point we're like, oh hey, how are you, like catching up, and we exchanged numbers this time, and it was just all very platonic, like he wasn't I wasn't attracted to him or anything. It wasn't like that. It was just like very innocent, and I admired what he did, and like I thought like he'd give some good advice when I was finishing up at FIT. Maybe I shouldn't finish. I can come off as a little bit flirtatious sometimes, even when I'm not trying. My best friend in college told me. So I did ask him for advice, after I was finishing up at FIT, and was very he was very nice to oblige me with that, and I went into the situation just being very cognizant of the fact that I can be flirtatious and not even realize it, and just that, I've been told I'm a cute girl, so I'm like just wanted to dress, professionally to some degree, even though it was a hangout. I didn't want to give the wrong impression, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And it was fine, it was great. We exchanged like movie lists and like hung out and talked, and just told me about his experience, and it was great. It was good advice, I helped him pack for this like trunk show that he was doing, and it was a really fun night. And I asked him how it went like a month later, how the trunk he was leaving that night, and slowly it quickly turned into him like sexting me, basically, like asking me like I was so disappointed, like so beyond disappointed, because I tried so hard to have him like take me seriously and like dress professionally and like just be like, be just like friendly and just all that. I don't know how to explain. And I told him, people would probably laugh if they knew who this was, but I told him that was inappropriate, and that was none of his business. And I don't know, never heard from him again after that. It was just so like, I was just trying to be friends, and thought that, having some similar interest, and he would appreciate that. And I think it's hard as a woman, especially, even though there's many women in the fashion industry, to still be taken seriously no matter what, like, to not be looked at in that way, to be taken seriously, to have your talent or your interests appreciated. I was just, after that, like, totally ruined my night. I was so disappointed because I'm like, oh, I thought it went so well. I thought it was like totally platonic, all that. And he like thought I was cool. And I don't know. I was just so disappointed. Like, oh, I guess he didn't take me seriously. And I guess that's the end of that. And who knows what he'll probably say about me now. If I, hurt his ego or something. I don't know. I just think it's just ridiculous. Like, did I give any sort of impression that that was what I was interested in? Even if I did, like, shouldn't you still, like, not do that? Shouldn't you still be, like, respectful of women and, like, not just start sexting someone after, like, 2 minutes of knowing them, basically, regardless? So, anyways, it's about having that inner strength of character, and to stand up for yourself and stand up for who you are, not let people take advantage of you, and not let people walk all over you, and not just succumb to because someone is so-and-so and whatever, it's just like knowing your own strength, knowing your own talents, your own skills, knowing your own heart, what you believe in. 8 again as well, so there you go. 8, power, regeneration, renewal, strength. On the bottom is the Chariot, so let's hope that there's no travel malfunctions or anything like that with the Tower. But this is the foundational card for strength, I think. So travel, again, this could be like head in the clouds, or just gaining a broader perspective from a higher vantage point, seeing the big picture, thinking broadly, seeing the whole thing, thinking big. It says, do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Waldo Emerson, again, yesterday he came up. This is the Balloon Detail by Paul Merce, 1878, Hungarian National Gallery, Budapest, Hungary. This always reminds me of Cappadocia, because you can go hot air ballooning there, and again, I think it's about finding some sort of balance and reining things in. We have some sort of progression going on here from 7 to 8. So finding your balance, reining things in, 2 opposites in to make them go straight. That works out with hot air ballooning, because that's what you have to do in order to get the elevation and how to land. So letting in and out the air, the hot air. Again, seeing things from like a higher perspective, so you can see all the different like land masses and color blocks and zones, I think of too. And when I was there, I saw this big mountain, and it looked like a big heart shape. I think eventually I'm going to have to just make an album that slideshow album of like all the pictures and things that I've mentioned in these videos, because I don't know how to do that here on YouTube. But really, really cool. If you haven't done that, maybe making a point to go hot air ballooning sometime. Mark it on your bucket list. Bucket list, like a bucket. The Chariot, 7, so something guided spiritually towards your destination with strength. I always think of also like having some sort of spirit guide helping you. Like sometimes when there's a woman who looks like kind of like an angel that's come across this line, and she's like helping, she's kind of petting him or doing something. Sometimes she looks like she's like massaging his head. Like I think of spirit, sort of coming down and helping. So asking for that, asking for spiritual guidance, asking for, or just, within yourself, following your own sort of guidance tomorrow. Traveling, transits, also to look for in your charts, see what planets are maybe transiting your 5th house or your 7th house, maybe your 8th house too. If these are referring to the different houses, again, 7th house, partnership, or the 8th house. So, going to find strength somehow, maybe, or strength being delivered to you. It works out. I don't know if, like, exactly usually is watching these videos, but sometimes I get little hints and clues, and Spirit likes to, like, tell on people. Because, one of my spirit guides and guardian angels, like the strength card, is Dior. You can think I'm crazy for saying that, and I don't know why I'd be assigned or whatever. but it's just very apparent to me. And if you do think I'm crazy, great. Maybe that'll be like a reason for you to like, you know, not watch these videos if you think I'm crazy. I don't know. But yeah, I've always felt very connected between him and Basquiat for some reason. I don't know why. Like I said, and Andy Warhol, kind of think he shows up sometimes too. Anyways, just getting help from spirit, I think. Help, strength, motivation, guidance. Yeah. And that usually comes through. Something coming through, help, strength coming through, spiritual guidance coming through, very much the 8 and 7, strength and chariot cards. Sometimes I think of it from the other side. Also with the 4 swords and your speech, communication, mind, just little thoughts popping in your head. Things like that. Just knowing that you have guidance, help, whatever it is to you. And yeah, so this is the Oracle Visions. Sum up this reading for tomorrow, 25th. Sum up this reading. 33. Go. This is a master number too, so it's a gateway. You know, it's stepping through, entering a threshold, dipping your toe in something, which makes me think of Lana Del Rey's Lust for Life. I wonder if her new album's out yet. I don't know. This came up yesterday, 19, which reminds me of the sun. Also, the Fool came up too yesterday, which made me think of the Fugees, you know, bless you if you represent the Fool, that kind of thing. So anyways, this is like peace, tranquility, regeneration again. See the ballerina? This also reminds me of like in Japan when you can put your feet in and they bite off, you know, all the fish down here. And there's Pisces. So, let me see. Read that. The peacock and the headband, which also reminds me of Chanel's recent show. The headband and the big hair, 60s like. Let's see, 33. Where is it? Patience, waiting for the right moment. Time is but a stream I go fishing in. I drink at it, but while I drink, I see the sandy bottom and detect how shallow it is. Its thin current slides away, but eternity remains. Henry David Thoreau. Nina casts a golden line and lure with which to capture desired goal or item. The process is calm and planned, the pace leisurely. There is no rush nor looming deadline. She will know when the right time has come and the moment is appropriate. A kingfisher, a harbinger of tranquility, companies turn together. They will wait. Despite the desire for results, some occasions or decisions simply should not be rushed. You should approach either with caution or restraint, waiting for the opportune moment. You must also be wary of being too indulgent and devoting too much time waiting for some imagined perfect moment, person or thing. Worthy opportunities may be lost if they are overlooked in anticipation of some intangible matter or a better option to arrive. So, yeah, just having a lot of discernment, knowing when the right time is to strike something, to move forward with something. It's funny. I need to do laundry really badly, so I just decided to make my little cardigan coat into a shirt with this little pin, which used to be my keychain, actually. You can get these at, like, Steinlauf and Stoller, New York, in the Garment District. I love it. Anyways, I don't know why that just came up, but, yeah, waiting for the right moment. Taking your time, just feeling out things, feeling your way through something, feeling out like the situation, whatever it is for you. And whatever it is that you're working on or thinking about saying or doing, maybe especially a lot of thought. So just sort of, finding that clear way through and knowing when it is the right time for you to strike, for you to make your move, for you to move forward, and what's good for you. So I hope this was helpful. Bye.